Before we go to today's discussion, let's take a quick some reflections from the last time. So, anything you remember from last time? Anything struck you from the last week's discussion? We discussed, I believe, from text number 8 to 13 of chapter 2. So, if you remember, the acronym is Gita, Gita. The first seven verses, Arjuna takes shelter of the Supreme Lord as his spiritual master, Guru, and then the following verses talk about the identity. So, we started discussing about identity. So, anyone remembers what we discussed last time till text number 13? Then we'll start into text 14. Really quick, short, and sweet. Anyone wants to share? Yes, Shital Mataji, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. But before we proceed, you want to do the Guru prayers or you want to wait?
Yeah, we'll do once we start the new verses. Yes, we'll do for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding last time.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hare Krishna, everybody. So we discussed about the nature of the soul, where we said the soul was indestructible, eternal, and unborn.
Very
That was some
nice.
of the discussions.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we will continue to discuss about the dynamics of body and soul because it is such an important topic. Anyone else remembers anything else from the last week's discussion? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay.
Prabhuji, I think you also mentioned that you will tell us the spiritual arithmetic. So we wanted to know about that also.
Yes, yes. Thank you for reminding about that also. We will discuss that for sure. And I also said that I'll share a story about Mahamurkha, the great foolish king. Who want to hear about that Mahamurkha story? Everyone wants to hear. Okay. So let's now go into today's section. So we will do the Mangalacharan prayers and then we will start to our discussion from chapter 2, text 14 onwards. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you once again to all the worshipable devotees. I seek your prayers and blessings before we continue, because whatever we are sharing here is our movement is a movement of prayers and blessings. It's not a movement of, oh, I am great, oh, I am very knowledgeable. No, there's nothing Someone said to Prabhupada, your Bhagavad Gita is same as the kind of the Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. You're just repeating what they have said. And Prabhupada said, thank you so much. That's the biggest comment. That's the biggest compliment. So a duty of a disciple is to repeat the words of the spiritual master. So whatever we are sharing here is not my knowledge. It's the knowledge coming from the bona fide parampara, which goes back all the way up to Krishna, the disciplic succession. So, and therefore, this knowledge is eternal knowledge. This does not change with time. We discussed last time also that the materialistic knowledge changes with time. The science changes with time. But spiritual science does not change with time. And we will study that today also. So, let's begin our reading of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 2, text number 14 onwards, because that's where we kind of stopped last time. And I promise whatever I promised last time, we will discuss that today also. And if I forget, then you have to remind me. So let's begin with this verse, text number 14. Oh, let me do it. You're all able to see? Yes, perfect. Okay, so we were at text 14. And remember, we are at the topic of identity. So, text 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshana sukha dukkadaha agamapaino nityastam stitikshva swabharata. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shubha Ki Jai. Ishida Mataji, would you like to read this one?
Shreya would like to read. Hare Krishna.
Oh, sure, wonderful.
Non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance and dealing are like the appearance and disappearance of nature and time. They arise from the sense of perception. O Scion, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, in this verse, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna a very, very important quality. And what is that quality? Titikshva, to be tolerant. This is one of the main qualities of a devotee, to become tolerant. Even in the teachings of Kapila Dev, he starts with this verse. What are the qualities of a devotee? Titikshva karunika suhridam sarva bhutana ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushanam. To be tolerant. Now, what do we need to be tolerant of? Tolerant of the dualities. Now, what kind of dualities we face, right? Sometimes there is hot weather, sometimes there is cold weather, right? Sometimes it's nice, pleasant and sunny, and somewhere in Rochester it's snowing, right, Rashmi Mataji? I hope it's better now, but in the northern part of US, even in Tennessee, I believe it's quite cold still, right?
Right.
But in Florida, there are different challenges. Somewhere there are hurricanes, somewhere there are snowstorms, correct?
Right.
Sometimes life has a lot of good days and sometimes a lot of bad days, right?
Right.
So we all need to become tolerant. Like the seasons come and go. The summer season comes and the winter season comes, and then the summer comes and the winter comes. So similarly in life, all these ups and downs will keep coming, correct? It's never a smooth journey. There are some health issues, some different kinds of issues will come, weather challenges, health challenges, and different challenges. And most importantly, if we don't become tolerant, right? Then we can complain about it. But would that lead to any solution? No. So rather than trying to complain about, oh, why is it hot? Why is it cold? Krishna is telling Arjuna, oh, you become undisturbed. Try to tolerate the ups and downs. Just be patient. And Prabhupada is giving a wonderful example that sometimes there is cold winter season, but the sadhus, they get up early and they take a water, they take bath in the cold water, correct? It's not that in cold season we should stop bathing, but nowadays, there is heater and everything. It may not be so much applicable because everyone has heaters at home. But earlier there were no heaters, but still they did stop bathing, correct? Now same now in the kitchen also has air conditioning, but traditionally in India, even now I don't think most kitchens have air conditioning, at least the majority of the population. But still, does the mother stop cooking on the stove in the heat in the summer season of, let's say, June, July, May, June, July? It's very hot. And in traditionally, that there were no, like, the people used to cook on chulas, which is like direct heat. So the mother does not stop cooking, that, oh, it's hot season, I'll stop cooking. An intelligent person tolerates. So Krishna is telling that tolerance is basically will lead to liberation. So rather than complaining about the life, and we should not take things of this world too seriously, the materialistic things too seriously. There will be sometimes wealth, there will be sometimes poverty. The biggest thing we need to take seriously is our spiritual journey, because that's eternal. Even little progress can save us from the greatest dangers. So, Prabhupada is also mentioning here that great heritage brings great responsibility. That's another great lesson in the last line of the purport. Well, that's why Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Bharata. Tam stitikshva swabharata. Oh Arjuna, you are coming from the descendant of Bharat dynasty. The word Bharat, India, and actually the whole world was called Bharat before, is coming from this Bharat. So he's addressing from his Kaunteya and Bharata, both sides. Kaunteya from the mother side and Bharata. Kaunteya means the son of Kunti. Kunti was the mother of Arjuna, and Bharata is in the dynasty from the father's side. So in short, oh, my dear child, my dear son, you are from such a great heritage. How come these lower modes, how come these impurities coming upon you? You must tolerate. So, and we all go through situations, right? We all go through ups and downs. We all go through health and disease. We all go through wealth and poverty. We all go through emotional ups and downs. Rather than, what do majority of people do? Majority of people, they'll complain about it, or they will go and try to kind of fix everything on their own, right? If it's raining outside, I have options, right? I can complain about it. Oh, I wanted to go here, I want to go there, but now it's raining. All my plans have been. So rather than trying to complain, rather than trying to be the controller, we have to accept sometimes, or majority of the times, the plan of the Supreme Lord and just keep moving. Tam stitikshva subharata. And what would that lead to? Let's see what Krishna is telling here in the next verse, in text number 15. Yam hina vyatha yant ethe purusha rishabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram so amritatavya kalpate. Would someone like to read the translation for this one? Yes, Vedi.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So in the discharge of one's duty, there will be ups and downs. What was Arjuna's duty? A Kshatriya. Correct? Prabhupada is mentioning. So it is sometimes difficult to discharge one's duty. Correct? And what one has to be tolerant. And what is the ultimate duty? The ultimate duty is to be Krishna conscious, right? The duties we are doing as a engineer or doctor or lawyer or IT professional or whatever roles and responsibility, those are not the true duties. Those duties are there to help facilitate the real duty. And what is that real duty? To go back home, back to Godhead, to attain spiritual love of God, right? That is our real duty. That is, if all the other duties do not help us to get to the real duty, then other duties are become waste. So that doesn't mean that we have to stop doing them. We have to always be focused in our goal, and ups and downs will come. Sometimes we will feel lazy. Sometimes, many times, there will be some allurements will come. The friend will say, hey, let's go do this, activity which may not be aligned to our goal. Correct? Sometimes some hardship will come in life. Correct? Has anyone been through hardship? Practically everyone, right? Whether it's in health aspect or financial aspect, emotional aspect, we all will go through, because this is the nature of this world. Dukhalyam ashashvatam. This world is not a place of, and I'm not saying this Bhagavad Gita. There are multiple verses which tell this point, that this world is full of difficulties, sorrows. Dukhalyam, a place of misery. So no matter who we are, there will be challenges. And what most people do, most people say, well, I will practice bhakti when this hardship will go away. Correct? Or when right now I am a student, I'm in 8th grade, how can I practice bhakti? I have to study, I have to do homework, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm busy for bhakti. And then that person gets in the 12th grade or in the college, and then same reasons. And then he says, oh, now I have a job. When I get settled, then I will do bhakti. Correct? I have to work hard and this and that. And then the person says, well, let me get married and have family, then I'll do bhakti peacefully. And then the person has family and kids. Oh, then say, oh, I'm busy in my kids and this and schools and ration and grocery and whatnot. Let my children get married, then I'll do bhakti, because then I'll retire. I'll go to Florida and just lie down on the beach and do bhakti, right? And then what happens? Then the grandchildren come, and the person says, well, now you do bhakti. They say, well, the grandchildren, my kids go to work, who will take care of the grandchildren? That my kids are so irresponsible, who will take care of the grandchildren? They are not yet mature. They sometimes, keep the home unlocked and go. What if the thieves come? I have to guard the property, I have to take care of the home, etc. And like that, the person keeps procrastinating and procrastinating. And guess what? The time of the body's death comes. So in short, the point is that we should not delay, or we should not procrastinate our main duty. Rather, we should tolerate our ups and downs. We all have unique situations, correct? No one situation is same as the other person. We all have unique, Krishna has tailor-made our situations which are best for us. If we have that faith, we will be we will have a totally different outlook towards life. We will get out of the BMW mode. Yes, the what's a BMW mode? Blaming, mourning, and wailing. Hmm? Often, so we'll stop blaming the situation, that this person caused trouble in my life, or this situation caused trouble, or stop mourning about the situation. Why, how I wish I had that. Oh, my friend had that. Oh, my neighbor has that. This is also mourning. Will it lead us anywhere? Right? It's like a rocking chair which keeps moving but takes us nowhere. Right? So this BMW mode will only take us down, will bind us more into the material cycle. But rather, when we establish more and more our connection on the spiritual platform, when we understand who we truly are, then we will become more tolerant. We will become more stable. We'll become more focused in our spiritual journeys. And then we will understand that, my goal is to not to take the things of this material world so seriously. Ups and downs will come. Till the last breath, they will come. I'll tell you a short story. Once upon a time, right? That's how stories begin with. If you want to hear a story, give it a thumbs up from the reactions button. Okay, everyone wants to hear. Okay. And all of you are in the ministers in a kingdom, it's court, in a king's kind of, and you are sitting in the assembly. Okay. And for those who have heard this story, so you are just a spectator. Okay. You will not answer. So you're all ministers. Okay. And the king has asked you or given you an assignment. And this is like the very powerful king, and you are all very intelligent ministers of the king. And the king has said that I want to get something which will make me happy when I'm sad, and which will make me sad when I'm happy. The king has said to all of the ministers, give me something or do something which will make me happy when I'm sad, and sad when I am happy. For those who have not heard the story, would you like to raise your hand and try? Let's take maybe one or two responses, or what all of you intelligent ministers will think. Any tries, any guesses, any thoughts? Anyone wants to try? Is the question clear? Is the question clear? Okay. Confused?
Is it childhood memories or something like that?
Childhood memories. Well, if let's say someone had bad childhood memory, I mean they could be mixed, right? And the bad child, if one recalls that, then he will feel bad about it, correct? So he may feel sad about it, right? So good try, very good try. But childhood memories could be both ways, right? And happy memories, sad memories. Yes.
Is it time, Prabhuji? I mean, when you are having good time, it passes away. Then if it's passing away, you feel, I mean, you are of course happy, but there will be a little bit of fear that this time is passing by. I don't know how will be the future, something like that. And when you are having some difficulty, when you know that you are going to cross it, and or maybe you know that we are going to finish that problem, then you'll be happy that okay, all we tried, and now we are crossing this bridge which we are with all the sorrows. Then you'll be happy.
Very good, very good. Thank you. That's absolutely correct. So all the ministers came together and gave a ring to the king. Ring king. The ring had a special message engraved on it. And what was that message? What Mataji you just said. This shall soon pass away. Basically, time. Right?
Yeah. Something I could thought. Yeah, correct.
Yes. So exactly. The time and tide wait for none. So no matter, friends, a turbulent period, we may be going through a turbulent period in our lives, but will that remain forever? No. Or no matter how happy or jolly we may be today, that will also pass away. So a great soul is not too happy when things are going rosy and cozy, and not too sad when things are not going the way we may want them to go. Why? Because the person who understands the science of Krishna consciousness understands that the Lord has a perfect plan for all of us. The Lord has a tailor-made plan for all of us. Let me tell you one more story, because you all like stories, right? So a mother was doing knitting work, right? You all know knitting. There are different colors of threads. So the person doing knitting, the mother was doing knitting, and she had a design in mind. She had a wonderful painting in mind. And she was using the dark colors and the light colors, and the threads were going. And the child was crawling on the ground, and the knit, the child was seeing from the back side, from the down surface. So imagine my hand as, and I'm the mother, I'm looking from the top, and the child is looking from the bottom. Okay, the child is seeing from here, and the mother is looking from the top. So the top, the mother is seeing, and the bottom, how is the bottom? The bottom is all haphazard, right? Right? All the threads randomly moving here, moving there, and this and that. It's a chaos. You all able to imagine what I'm trying to share here? The bottom is a chaos. And the child is thinking, hey, what is this going on, mother? One thread is going here, one thread is going here. This is all a mess. And the mother says, well, let me complete this design. Why don't you go out and play with your friends and come back after a couple of hours? Okay. So the child does that, and the mother has completed all the knitting work and all the colors, and a beautiful design she has created here. Now the child is still seeing the bottom, which is all a chaos, correct? But so the mother picks the child in her lap, on her arm, and then the child sees from the top surface, and then the child sees, wow, that's such a beautiful painting, right? So we all go through these ups and downs, but if we remain tolerant, keeping the spiritual life as always as the core, then we will become eligible for topmost liberation, back home, back to Godhead. And that is the goal of life. If we remain too happy, too sad, and too bothered with the situations of this world, then what happens with a lot of people? I was just hearing one lecture. One person saw, oh, the first one Hollywood actor, they saw, oh, the gray hair or white hair on their head, and they go into depression. These are real stories, correct? That, oh, I'm growing old. Well, everyone will grow old at some point. Everyone's hair will grow white. So a sober person is tolerant, right? Understands that right now I am, whatever age, but I'll not be always of this age. I'll not look the same. I'll look like this, right? So whether good or bad, this time will pass away. Whether happy or sad, this time will pass away. So that's an important message of Bhagavad Gita. Now we'll continue our discussion of body and soul with the next verse, which is text number 16. नास्तो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सता उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्तव अनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. Yes, someone wants to read this one? Yes, Karina, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, Nandava Pranam. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Again, this science of body and soul is so important. Therefore, the Supreme Lord, the great Guru, the spiritual master, is teaching to Arjuna, and not to Arjuna, actually, Prabhupada mentions, to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. Because these are the real realities of life. These are the real truth of life, which majority of the population is not aware. Who am I? Story time or joke time, correct? Who wants to hear a spiritual joke? Anyone? Okay, everyone wants to hear a joke. So, one time, the Prime Minister goes to mental asylum to see how things are going in mental asylum, right? Then, people are those people are not, they are differentially able, and so they cannot think properly or rationalize properly. So basically, they are in their own world, and in common terms, some people call them crazy, some people call them lunatic, some people call them fool, etc., etc. Right? So this prime minister goes and he sees their, like, what's going on. There were two people. They were talking to each other. So one said that, tomorrow I'm going to become the prime minister. Two people in that mental asylum are talking to each other. One said, tomorrow I'm going to become the prime minister. The second one says, hey, who told you? How do you know that you are going to become the prime minister tomorrow? and the first person says, well, God told me. God told me I'm going to be the prime minister tomorrow. And the second person says, well, but I never told you that you're going to become prime minister tomorrow. So one person is thinking I'll be the prime minister, and one person is thinking I'm God. So this prime minister comes and says, okay, so the third guy is asking this prime minister, well, who are you? So crazy person is asking the prime minister, who are you? The prime minister says, well, I'm the prime minister of the country. I've come to see how things are going. And this person says, well, welcome. When I came here, I also used to say exactly the same, that I'm the prime minister of the country, and therefore they put me here. So in short, it's a funny story, but the point is, if we are thinking ourselves as something we are not, correct? Then who are we? We are crazy. Majority of the population, what is their goal of life? The goal of life is, yes, I think Shreya wants to share. For the majority of the population, I'm not talking about spiritualists, I'm talking about the 99% of the population. What's their goal? What do they think about life? Let's take some thoughts. Yes, Shreya, please. Yeah, please say. I didn't hear you, sorry.
They wish to be successful in life?
They wish to be successful, and often that success means to become a millionaire or a billionaire, right? Correct? Okay. So wealth, they can say, oh, to get a lot of wealth, right? Okay, what others think? Anyone other wants to share? Radha Mataji, want to share?
Okay, well,
Um,
bye.
Yes, I think we all just want to be successful in life, whether it be, for our kids, um, our personal, spiritual growth. I think we just all want to be successful at everything in life.
Successful in everything. Okay, let's little bit more specific and what that success kind of like we discussed. Okay, to get a lot of money, right? That's
I would say maybe for me personally would be raising, spiritually oriented children. I have two boys that I want to make sure that they are spiritually enlightened.
That's wonderful.
That I've done my duty as a mother to make sure that that happens for them.
That's
And in
wonderful.
order for that to happen, I need to be aware as well for me to, share my knowledge with them.
That's wonderful. That's so amazing. You're amongst the 1%. 99% people don't think like that.
Ah,
Yes, Vedahi. But thank you for sharing. Yes,
mhm.
thank you. That's really great goals, great desires.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially in the Western world, think that you only like live once, so just do everything you like
Mm,
and worry about everything else later. Live in the moment.
yes. Live life king size, right? Tomorrow never comes. Kal ho na ho. Eat, sleep, and be merry. Correct? Just do it, right? Enjoy, work hard, party harder. These are the slogans. They don't read Bhagavad Gita slogans, right? They don't read Bhagavad Gita quotes. Enjoy. Life is meant to enjoy. Eat, sleep, do whatever you want. Tomorrow is not going to come. This body is, after all, this body is going to die anyways. So why you care about tomorrow? Live in the moment, enjoy everything, right? Is that correct? All of you agree that these are the common, the shlokas of this day and age? And everyone wants is kind of blindly rushing towards this without asking, well, what am I trying to enjoy? Correct? Who am I true? I'm thinking I'm myself as the body and I'm trying to enjoy the body. So it's as good as I'm trying to enjoy something which I am not, right? And that's termed as being full. We discussed that. So therefore, the identity is, therefore, Krishna is emphasizing on this point, and therefore we are emphasizing on this point. And my dear friends, it's not very easy to have that transition from body consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Correct? It takes a lot of effort and practice and learning and, and a lot of practice under guidance. And we are all in that journey to have that transition, right? To be from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. And when we say from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness, often people think, oh, that doesn't mean going to Himalayas and standing on one leg. That does not mean to stop our education or stop our jobs or business or go to a hermitage with matted hair. That's not the spiritual consciousness. Srila Prabhupada has given this formula where no matter who we are, a student, a householder, husband, wife, male, female, 10-year-old or 100-year-old, we all can be spiritual conscious. We all can be spiritually conscious. We all can work on that spiritual platform, on our true identity, right? Being in this world, but not of this world. That's what we have to do, practice or learn to practice. That's what Bhagavad Gita is teaching. So, coming back to the verses of Bhagavad Gita now, it's very, very important. And then Bhagavad Gita was spoken at the time of war or time of turbulence. So, some people think, well, I'll read Bhagavad Gita when everything is, very calm, when I'm retired, right? We discussed that topic. But Bhagavad Gita is meant to take us out of turbulence, right? So what does this verse say here? Nasto vidyate bhavo. That means, this is explained more in text number 18, which we will cover shortly. That means the body is has a beginning and has an end. Na bhavo vidyate satah. But for the soul, it's eternal. There are no changes. So that's explained more in text 17. The text 17 talks about this more, about the soul. Text 18 talks more about the body. In short, the body is temporary or it changes, right? Does anyone's body is exactly the same as it was 10 years back or 5 years back? We discussed this point that even no cell of our body is the same as it was 7 years back. Even the brain cells. In fact, everything has changed. But has the soul changed? No. Na bhavo vidyate sata. So the soul does not change. And because the soul is eternal, and when this body is old and incapable, what happens? The soul moves to the next body. Like the driver, we discussed the example, changes the car. If your car is very, very beaten down, it's not working, you will change the car and get a better car, which you can use, correct? Similarly, the soul goes to the next body based on the activities one has performed. So when we are on that consciousness, when we are on that spiritual consciousness, then we will not be too much affected by the things of in connection to the body, correct? This is very, very important. It's not just some theory. This will help us to prepare us to be more tolerant, to be more happy, because bodily things will keep changing. Bodily designations will keep changing. Bodily, anything connection to the body keeps changing. Today, some people may be your friends. Tomorrow, they may become your enemies, right? Today, some relatives may be your best friends. Tomorrow, they may become enemies, right? Today, one could be a king. Tomorrow, one could be a pauper, correct? And vice versa. Today, one could be a beggar, and tomorrow, that person could be a king. Today, one person could be very healthy and strong, right? And tomorrow, we may not even hear about him or her, right? You all have heard these in the news, in your lives, in others' lives, right? So in short, we should not take the material things or things in the relation to the body too seriously, and not ignore the spiritual side in this whole journey. That's Krishna's message. So now we come to text number 17, which talks more about the spirit soul. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. Avinashi. Soul is non-destructible. So Avinash Prabhu, you want to read this verse or the
Yeah,
translation? Because it has your name.
that which perverts the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Hari, Hari Bol.
Thank you. Avinash. Vinash means destruction. Avinash means whenever there's a before, it's like a opposite. So the soul cannot be destroyed. The body is temporary, but the soul is indestructible, avinashi. And so the soul is indestructible, and we will discuss in text number further. Krishna, this theme is discussed in many verses. Why? Because it is so important, correct? The body goes through different stages, right? Like birth, like the youth, then offsprings, and then old age and deterioration, and finally the death, correct? The 6 changes the body goes through. But the soul, does the soul goes through any changes? As we are growing, is the soul also growing? No, the soul is unchangeable. As the body is dead, is the soul also dead? No, avinashi. The soul cannot be destroyed by any way. And Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport and quoting multiple verses from Shvetashwar Upanishad that, tip of the hair, very, very tiny, 1/10,000th part. So take the tip of the hair, whatever the diameter is, divide that by 10,000 times. That's the kind of size of the soul. When the upper point of the hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each part is divided into 100 parts, that means each subpart is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. So basically 1/10,000. So very, very kind of, and it's very, very subtle. It's not that, well, can you show me soul? It's like as good as showing, can you show me air, right? Can we see air? No, we can feel it. Similarly, how can we see soul? Through the consciousness. If the car is moving, what does that mean? That means there's a driver inside. If the car is not moving, what does that mean? That means driver is not in the car, right? It's just dead matter. Similarly, we discussed this point. When the person is dead, what happens? Chhod ke chalega. He has passed away. What has passed away? The driver or the soul has left that car, correct? So consciousness, very, very important line, which comes multiple times. Consciousness is the symptom of soul, right? So the body is moving, growing, going through different phases. Why? Because there is Atma present. The spirit soul is present. If a person dies at a young age, does the body keeps growing? No. The body does not move after the soul has exited the body. So now let's see the next verse, and then I'll tell the spiritual arithmetic. Oops, sorry. So text number 18. Yeah. Antavanta ime deha nitya shokta sharirinaha anashino a prameyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Someone wants to read this one? Yes, Sampada, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Babaji. Back to you.
Thank you. What was the main reason we were talking about Arjunas for not fighting? Well, their body will be dead, correct? But here, Krishna is telling the soul is indestructible, right? Immeasurable and eternal, living entity, and that is referring to the soul here. But the material body, the body is not eternal, the body is not spiritual, is sure to come to an end. No matter who we are, whether it's our friend, relative, uncle, grandfather, teacher, what, anyone. Therefore, oh Arjuna, don't be attached to the so-called body of your so-called swajana. Material body is perishable. So basically from both points, so Prabhupada is giving, from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation because the living entity cannot be killed, right? So first we have discussed, Krishna has told that the living entity cannot be killed, right? Because the true self, which you are thinking your uncle is actually, they are eternal, right? They are eternal. But even if you are thinking they are the body, correct? So where is this point here? So from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation. What is the both viewpoints? Even if someone thinks they are the body, okay? Even if they're thinking, even if Arjuna, you think they're the body, well, the body will certainly come to an end. Because the living entity, he cannot be killed, the spirit soul, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. Can the wealthiest person on earth do some magic or pay some doctors a lot of wealth and millions and billions of dollars and let their body live forever? No. Can they bring them back to life? No. So body will die at some point or the other. So in kind of, Krishna is doing a checkmate here. If you understand that they're spirit soul, then don't worry about it. They are eternal. But even if you think that the body will anyways die. So why are you worrying about the change of the body? Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we will discuss about this wonderful spiritual arithmetic. And this is a kind of a quiz, very, very elementary quiz. Let's see if you can do this math correctly. Life arithmetic. Okay. Shall I share? You all ready for Life 101? Everyone ready? Who is ready? Put that thumbs up button so I can see who all are ready. Okay, I think most of you are ready. Okay, so this is Life 101, okay? Okay, type in your response. What is 1 plus 1, right? You all know the answer, I believe. And I think most of you are typing in correctly that yes, 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Okay. But this person was not as intelligent as all of you. So he did a boo-boo. Okay. He put 3. Okay. And after that, he was very intelligent. Okay. He did 3 times 25 is 75. 75 square means 75 times 75 is 5625. Add 298 to it, it becomes 5923, right? So all the other calculations are correct. Okay, everyone getting the point? The first calculation, that person did a mistake. Let's see 1 plus 1, if the person does it the right calculation, 2. And the following calculations with the numbers will be the same. 2 times 25, 50, 50 square, 2500 times 298, 2798. So who can share some reflection on it? Anyone wants to share any reflection on it? Anything striking you from this? This just based on maths, right? You all do math problems, correct? Yes, Avani, what do you think?
Prabhuji,
Yes,
it's me, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What it comes to me right away is that if the foundation is wrong, anything that you build upon it will be completely wrong. Like it can be, like it will be fully shaken away. But if the foundation is right, anything that you build on it will be forever.
Very nice. Thank you. I'm sure we all have done, some math problems in our school and colleges and stuff. If there's a mistake in the first step and all the following steps are good, will we get the right answer? We will be way off. Look at the difference. They're almost like, way off, right? They're not just slightly off. And the more calculations, the more they will keep the variance or the difference between the two will keep growing, correct? You all agree with that? Yes or yes? Okay, everyone said yes. So the point is, now let's try to understand what is this. Setting the right foundation, as Prabhuji said, right? We didn't do match fixing actually. You just said it from the heart. Okay. So 1 plus 1. The first one is I. The second one is am. And the 3 refers to body. Okay. First one is I. So if one thinks I am body, eat, sleep, be merry, live life king size, enjoy, right? Do whatever you want. Beg, borrow, or steal. Kill others, but you enjoy. Borrow. Don't worry about karma. Don't worry about future. Just enjoy. Don't worry about the next life. Who has seen next life? Has your brother seen next life? Has your mother seen next life? This is just all some hypothetical things. Don't. 99% of the population, the foundation is this. And that's incorrect. You all agree? 1 plus 1 is not 3. What's the right foundation? That I am spirit soul. I am the eternal spirit soul. Now, whatever will be based on that foundation will be correct. And friends, this is very, very practical. This is not just some math problem. This is may sound very trivial, but sorry to say that most of 99%, I'm not talking about the sincere souls, devotees like you. I'm talking about majority of the population. The foundation is wrong, right? The foundation is wrong. whether it's talking about happiness, talking about health, talking about marriage. What's the first foundation? How does the body look like, right? Hmm? How much money do they earn? That's the first thing anyone asks, right? Not what kind of spiritual values that person has, not what kind of samskaras that person has. Hmm? And therefore, nowadays, the marriage statistics are going, downward and downward. So many marriages ending in divorces, almost like 50% or more. Why? Because they are set on the wrong foundation of I am the body. But the body does not remain the same. We just learned it. The body will not remain the same. The income, probably the person may earn X dollars, and the other person may get married to him or her. But tomorrow, can anyone say for certain that the person will continue to earn X dollars? Will that, so what will happen? Oh, the job is gone, then the marriage also gone. Or the beauty is gone, the marriage is gone. Correct? Why? Because set on the wrong foundation. Same happens with anything in life. If we, let's say, if we take to occupation, oh, ultimately the goal is to be a millionaire. Let me sell liquor. Let me open a business for which has the most margin, even if it is I have to do wrong things like selling beef, right? Who cares? Ultimately, it's all about money. Well, this is again the wrong foundation. That I am the body, and the goal is to enjoy. So the other calculations, one could become a great doctor, one could become a great engineer, one could become a great lawyer, all the fine other things one could do fine, one could do okay. But if the foundation is wrong, one will not reach the destination of life. You all agree? And what is that foundation? The foundation is I am the spirit soul. I'm not the body. So I must always keep the foundation strong. So always thinking from that perspective, that will really help us. That will really help us to reach the right direction. Otherwise, the decisions we will make will be on the wrong foundation. And they will not lead us. Nowadays, even I'm not talking about any individual here, so don't take me personally. Um, I'm talking about the majority of the population. What do they want their children? What do they expect? There are very few parents like Aradhna Mataji who said, I want to, build a very nice spiritual values. And most of you are in that category because that's why you are here. But what do the majority of they don't, talk about spiritual values. They talk about everything else but spiritual values. Correct? Be good in this, everything but spiritual values. Correct? So again, wrong foundation. And then that will come back. Correct? We discussed the example of, taking care of elders, parents, that how the person sent his parents to the forest and then he was laughing, the father was laughing. As we saw, so shall we reap. It is a foremost duty, Srimad Bhagavatam explains. See, giving food, clothing, shelter. Do the animals also give to the bird also builds a nest for his children, her children, correct? Right? They also provide some kind of food based on their diet. They get some food, right? They also take care of their things, like they're eating, sleeping. The birds, the fishes, the dog, the cat, they also get food for their dependents. They also get some kind of home, nest or burrow or whatever. So human life is very, very special. It's not just meant to give those facilities. I'm not saying we should not give those things, but we should not compromise on the most important thing, which as parents, as well-wishers, as teachers, we can give is I am the spirit soul, the right foundation. Setting the right foundation. If the foundation is correct, the building will stay strong. Because tomorrow your children will go and face different hardships. Of course, everyone will go and face hardships in life. Today they may be in your secure environment. You are facing those hardships, and so that their children are protected. But life will move, and things don't remain always rosy and cozy. So, but if the foundation is right, if the foundation is strong, they will always be strong. We will always be strong. We will not be bewildered by the ups and downs, by the dualities of this world. Tam stitikshva subharata. And it all is connected, right? It's all connected. If the foundation is strong, the building will stay strong. The decisions we will make will be on the right foundations. Otherwise, it will be very hard if the foundation is not good. Mm. So like that, there are multiple verses. We'll just read maybe quickly one more, which again talking about the same theme of body and soul. Yainam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Anyone wants to read this one? Yes, Vedi. Or sorry, Avani.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain.
Quite confusing language, huh? So, for the self slays, nor it is slain. So basically, Arjuna was thinking what? I am the slayer, or I am the killer. Okay, I'll be killing these people, or I'll be slaying these. Arjuna does not want to slay others, or the others referring to the slain, right? For he who thinks that the living entity is the slayer. So Arjuna thinking, I'm the slayer, which is not, or the killer. Or he who thinks it's slain, or who is thinking that it will be killed, the living entity will be killed, is in knowledge, is not in knowledge. Neither who thinks I am the killer, or one who is thinking that they will be killed. They both are not in knowledge. For the self, the spirit soul slays not. In short, one cannot kill others, nor is slain, right? The slay and slay is a complex confusion, but I think the message is clear that in short, we cannot, the soul is eternal again, the point, the soul cannot be killed, is not slain, and the one who thinks that I am the killer is also not in the knowledge, because Arjuna was thinking that I am the killer. But now that does not mean, Prabhupada is very, very nicely mentioning here that this understanding, okay, nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Oh, well, then I can do anything, I can kill anyone and eat them, because ultimately everyone is eternal, right? Correct? This is not the right understanding. Killing of the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the laws of the state as well as the laws of the God or Krishna. So therefore, let's say, if a soldier in the war kills an enemy, then there is, he's authorized to do so, correct? But if the same soldier kills a civilian in the city, will he be punished? Yes, of course, right? So the act may be the same, but if it is not permitted by the laws of the state and the laws of the Lord, then one has to face the consequences as well. So I thought I'd mention, I'll tell the story of the Mahamurkha also. So I think we can discuss that, right? The story of the foolish king. Once upon a time, that's how all stories begin with, right? Last story for the day. There was a great king, lot of wealth, lot of name, fame, recognition, queens and kingdom and this and that, and he was just so absorbed in the wrong foundation. And what is that? You all know the answer, right? The wrong foundation means materialistic vision of life. Just enjoy. Ultimately, life is just like you get only once, as where they said so nicely. Because that's what modern propaganda is. Enjoy, you know, don't worry about tomorrow. So he was also busy enjoying. And the great souls cannot see the suffering of others. That's their compassion. And that's why Srila Prabhupada came. Why did he come to the New York City? The peak of materialism, right? Can we say that? The peak of materialism can be seen in New York. Why Prabhupada came to New York? Because the spiritual master told, and he could not, he had no resources, he had nothing in terms of material things, right? But he wanted to give something. Because if you see someone, a fool, kind of, thinking that he's very happy and just ruining himself, at the same time lost in his or her own world, but thinking I am very happy, won't you, have some form of compassion? Look at the terrible state. Let's say if a drunkard is totally, in totally kind of lost in his world and thinking, oh, I'm very happy, and he is in gutter, right? He's in gutter, and thinking very happy. What would you feel? Wow, he's enjoying. What would you think? Or would you feel, look at the poor miserable state, right? You'll feel compassionate, correct? That this person is in such a pitiable situation that he is thinking that he is enjoying, but is so lost because of the lack of right foundation, thinking he's enjoying, but he's struggling and suffering so much. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada came, because the people were thinking they're enjoying, but ultimately, one knows in the heart that there is no real substance. Material life can give us some momentarily so-called pleasures, right? But there will not be eternal happiness. There is no substance. So similarly, Prabhupada therefore came to give the real thing, which substance, spiritual consciousness. So similarly, in this king's life also, there was a great sadhu who could not see the suffering of the king. And the days were passing and the king was just absorbed in material consciousness. So he came to the king and said, well, that life is not eternal. And you must, set the foundation right. Whole life you have almost, spent and done nothing spiritual. Now at least do something. He said, no. He didn't hear the direct message. So he's ultimately said, before this teacher, the spiritual guru, was leaving, he said, can you do me one favor? Okay. The king said, yeah, I have a lot of wealth, I have a lot of servants, I can do anything you want. He says, I'm giving you this stick. Imagine this is a stick. The guru gave the king a stick and he said, pass this on to the most foolish person in your kingdom. Okay. Pass this on to the most foolish person in your kingdom and let this legacy continue. Let him pass to the next most foolish person and let him pass or her pass to the next most foolish person. Okay, yeah, this is very easy. I can easily get it done. So the king asked his ministers, go, ministers, find out the most foolish person in our kingdom. And the ministers went, and someone was doing some weird thing. This person was cutting the branch of the tree. So imagine it's like a tree connected here. He was sitting here and cutting this side. Okay. And these ministers said, hey, what's going on? You're going to fall down. You're cutting, you're sitting on the other side and you're cutting this side. You'll fall down. He said, what, are you astrologers? Right? How do you know I'm going to fall? Right? And then he was busy cutting, and boom, and he fell down. Literally, he fell down. And then he was, wow, you are like fortune tellers. You are so good. And this minister saw, well, this person is really a fool. Let us take him. This is the best fool. So they all took him where? To the king. And says, king, we have found the most foolish person. And king also kind of agreed with his, looking at his signs of foolishness, and says, king said, okay, here is this stick. I want to give it to you because you are officially the most foolish person in our kingdom. And then you just live around and we will take care of your living, and just pass it on to the next most foolish person. Okay, time passed by. The stick was given to this most foolish person. And the king now was at his deathbed. The king was at his deathbed. Time was passing, and the king, at the deathbed, sometimes people want to meet everyone. So the king said, well, I want to meet the queens, I want to meet my ministers, I want to meet everyone. The king started to meet all his friends, relatives, etc. And the king said, well, where is the most foolish person? I want to meet him also. And the ministers brought him in. And he says, oh, Mr. Fool, you have done a great job. Now you can pass on. You've done an exceedingly good job by carrying this stick for a very long time now. But this Mr. Fool started to ask different questions. King, where are you going? I heard you are going somewhere. The king was like, what do I explain to this most foolish person? Where am I going? He said, well, I'm going for a long journey and you won't see me in future. He said, okay, king, you are very, very wealthy. You must be taking some gold, some jewels, some, etc. Because you are so wealthy. You must be taking all your jewelry, all your stuff. And the king said, no, sorry. I can't take my jewelry. I can't take gold and all that stuff. And the minister said, well, king, you have a lot of queens. You must be taking a lot of queens with you. The king said, well, sorry, no, I can't take anything. I can't take my queens also with me. I can't take my relatives. And this person said, well, king, oh, you must be taking your at least some pizzas, so some kachoris, samosas, whatever you like to eat, or some ice cream, so that you can eat there wherever you're going for a long journey. And the king was like beating his head. Well, I can't take the tip of the needle also. I can't even take that. So the fool said, king, please take this, this stick, because you are the most foolish person. Throughout your life, you were working for things, and now the final exam has come and all your things are useless, right? Your wealth is useless, your relatives are useless, your big empire is useless, your ministers can't help you. What have you done throughout your life? All your life, you did the following calculations very good, but the foundational calculation of your life, you just lived on the bodily consciousness. So you are, according to me, you lived your whole life trying to you didn't understand who you truly are. Therefore, the one who does not know one, like the prime minister, the fool considering himself prime minister. So you consider yourself as the body, but actually, as per the fundamentals of Bhagavad Gita, we are the spirit soul. So you are the most foolish person. And this person, the king, was like, at that time was taken aback, and he understood that this person is not an ordinary person. And actually, this fool was the disciple of the spiritual master who was trying to explain this king earlier, but the king did not, understand the direct language. So that the teacher had to send one of his disciples in the disguise of the most foolish person, so the king could be delivered. And then later, king learned the lessons of self-realization from this disciple, this person, and was, his life became perfect. So it's a very, very important lesson, and a very, very kind of telling story, very, very insightful story, which tells us that we should try to go deeper in life, and try to seek shelter of Bhagavad Gita, and not live by the codes or like the shlokas of the material world, but with the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. So I'll pause here. Spoke a lot. I'll pause here. Let's take some reflections, some comments, some questions in the next, about 10 minutes we have. Anything really struck you, or any questions you have, or any comments or thoughts anyone wants to share? Yes.
Krishna Prabhuji, it's a question may take little long to explain, may not take. We were discussing today in our home, and we were talking about the diameter of the soul, that it's been mentioned in that Shwetambar Upanishad that it's like 100,000th part of the tip of the hair. 10,000, sorry, 10,000. So the question that we had, like why the number is given 10,000, why not 9,000, 8,000? Because it's like, who has seen that? Like, it's like subtle, it only can be perceived. So how did the number 10,000 came in the Upanishad? So I'm sure there is some foundation for it, but to our logic, intelligence, we could not figure out. So I thought I'll ask you if you can.
Again, I think the understanding here is that it is very, very subtle and very, very tiny. See, you don't have to go in the mathematical, thing too much. You have to understand the spirit of the law rather than understanding the word of the law. The spirit of the law here is that it is very, very, minute. Like a tiny seed runs the whole big banyan tree. Correct? Some trees live for 5,000 years. Some grow up to like 100 feet or 100 meters or 1,000 feet high maybe. What is there? The seed is so tiny. So the point is that anywhere we see life, whether it is the tiniest of the microorganism, correct? That also has a soul. Or whether it is the biggest mammal, the blue whale, right? It's hundreds of feet long, very, very big. They also have that same tiny soul.
Tiny soul.
So that's the more important point to understand, rather than kind of the size ultimately. And even with the finest of the microscope, we cannot see the soul, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that, oh, I have a microscope which can measure in nanometers, right? Then I can measure the soul, or I can see the soul, or what's the deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, pico, femto, whatever we cannot measure all, even the finer and finer units. It's not a material tool, right? We need a spiritual tool to measure it, to understand it, right? So, and that spiritual tool is the science of bhakti.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Haripal, thank you. Yes, Aradhana Mataji, please feel free to share.
I have a question. In the purport for text 15, it mentions sannyasa. And is it required for spiritual realization?
Very great question. Thank you so much. And first of all, I think you are reading so nicely. That's why this question is coming. So Arjuna asked the same question actually. And Arjuna actually says, well, let me go and take sannyasa. Let me, give up my duty. So there are 4 ashrams: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. That was the traditional Vedic model. Okay. Nowadays, in Krishna consciousness, in the present ISKCON society, you will see that practically there is only 1% sannyas. 99% are grihasthas only. Okay. So it is not, and Prabhupada says that multiple places, if one is living a Krishna conscious life in one's family, keeping Krishna as the center, living on that spiritual foundation, that person is better than sannyas. That person does not need to change the order of one's ashrama from grihastha to sannyas. So, and there are so many examples also. It's not just theoretically. There are so many wonderful examples in our society who are in their 60s, who are in their 70s, and some in 80s also. They are living with their family, they are living with their husband and children, grandchildren, etc. But the focus is Krishna consciousness. So sannyasa means we have to try to build that spirit, at the right age, we need to build that spirit of detachment, because sometimes we will see in even one has, children, and then even the children are settled, but still the attachment is very strong, correct? Now once the children are married, parents' responsibility is pretty much done, correct? So at that time, we need to focus more on our spiritual life. But one is so attached, the knots of attachment are so strong that one is so attached, and then it's very hard to practice one's bhakti. So in short, we need to be not sannyasa by dress, but by consciousness. Just by wearing the saffron dress, one does not become sannyasi. Prabhupada mentions that there are some sannyasis in some holy places. They give up their family, but they will go and smoke bidi in the holy places, or cigarette, for those who may not know bidi, what that. They'll attach to bidi. They may give up bibi or wife, they are attached to bidi. But and later they may go do wrong things also. Drinking, smoking, that's not sannyas. That's polluting the whole order of the Vedic system. So in short, we should try to be sannyasa by heart. That means strengthen our bhakti and detach to the things which are not conducive for our spiritual journey. Does that help? Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments, additions, questions, reflections? Okay, so I think it's almost time also, so we can pause here and we will continue from the next verse, which is text number 20 next time. So we'll continue with the next verse from text 20. So I'm so grateful again and again to all of you for taking out your precious time and reading Bhagavad Gita and being part of this discussion. So thank you again. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to, you have my email and WhatsApp, so you can always reach out at any other time as well. And again, feel free to share this with your friend. Try to encourage your friends, relatives, neighbors, anyone who may be in your circle, so that we can share this message with more and more friends and set the right foundations in life. Okay, thank you so much. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shubha ki jai, Sanjay Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Babaji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.